So one of the things that I encounter most often is when people say, but these artificial intelligence generative AI things can do almost everything, right? And that's just not the case. And I suppose that's part of the problem. There's so much misinformation out there that I thought, well, let's give it a bit of a challenge. So I played chess against ChatGPT, and this is how it went. What I'm going to do though, just quickly show you, what does a chessboard look like, in case you've never seen one, and how we actually went about trying to play this in a large language kind of environment. So here you see a chess game set up on sparkchess.com, and I'm playing Cody here. Now Cody, according to the chess engine, is also a beginner. Now I've got to admit, I'm a complete chess beginner. I haven't played a competitive game since I was 10 years old, and even then I'm not sure exactly what I did. But I do remember how the pieces move and what the rules are, so I thought let's give it a shot. Now for those of you a little unfamiliar, just a quick recap. This is what a chessboard looks like. 64 squares alternating black and white, sometimes beige and brown like it is here on a nice wooden set. And you've got two opposing sides, and each of them have the same number and type of pieces. You've got a white side and a black side. And on the left-hand side of this board, you'll see a row of numbers, and at the bottom, you'll see a row of letters. And that's used to show the chess moves. So for example, if I wanted to move this pawn that's here on block B2, then if I want to move it 2 blocks forward, I would then say I move from B2 to B4. And similar, so the first number in the notation is the existing location of the piece, and the second number in the notation is where that piece is destined to. So now that you've got a base understanding, you can sort of try and understand the first difficulty that I encountered to play chess with ChatGPT. But let me show you what happened. So as part of another discussion, I simply asked ChatGPT, can you play chess? And very confidently, it obviously said, yes, I can play chess. If you'd like to play a game, let me know how I'd like to set it up. And initially it suggested a game outside, and I would then move the pieces. It would tell me the moves to make, and I would tell it the moves that I'm making, and then, it'd go from there. But I said, no, I want to play it inside. And I said, okay, a chessboard is nothing but an 8x8 table, right? 64 pieces. So you could conceivably draw a chessboard two-dimensionally, view from the top as a table, and then fill the relevant cells with some sort of mark that denotes a piece. It confirmed, absolutely, we can do that, and it will come up with this notation: K for king, Q for queen, R for rook, B for bishop, N for knight, precisely because you can't have two Ks, and then P for pawn. We said, great, set that up. So this is what I did, and I was quite impressed by it setting this up. The letters at the top, the small case, denotes the black pieces, or ChatGPT, and at the bottom, the capital letters denotes the white pieces, or mine. And then we've got the numbers on the left, and we've got the letters at the bottom, so we can see the moves that we need to make. All right, so again, as I said, I'm not a chess specialist at all. I can sort of hang around on a board, but moves I make are purely random with 1 or 2 moves ahead of time. And I said, right, let's get going. So I said, right, move E2 to E4. So it duly did that. So my pawn moved here from space E2 to E4. Great, very impressed with that. And then it said, right, I'm going to move from E7 to E5. And it brought its pawn down, and this was the new state of the game. I then moved D1 to G4, D1 to G4, bring my queen out. Now, I'm not sure if this is a good move or not. Those who understand chess will probably tear me to pieces in the comments, but just bear with me. I just did it as an experiment. It duly made the piece and showed the new position, and then it said, I'm going to move from G8 to F6, which is G8 to F6. So the knight moved a legal move from G8 to F6. It replicated the board after I said, right, F1 to B5. So I brought my bishop out, and this is where things started to become interesting. Because after it made a move, I then said, all right, B5 to E7, which was not a legal move for that bishop to make. But ChatGPT did not pick that up, and I thought, okay, let's just leave it and see where it goes. And it didn't necessarily get better from there. So it then did a great move, moving back its knight from F6 to G8, And it even indicated it's doing so that it can try and recapture my bishop, which is here at e7. I then moved my bishop out of the way, don't want to lose him quite yet, and moved him down, legal move, to g5. And then he said, I'm going to move h7 to h6, which is a pawn that was moved down 1 from that position to that position. Right. So for the most part, so the board is still accurate. It remembers where all the pieces are. The moves, apart from the one that I snuck in there, have been legal so far. But already there's that challenge. I then moved from g5 to d8. So the bishop that was here, I moved up to right next to the king, and I captured the queen, which it didn't acknowledge. It didn't realize the queen was gone, because what it said now is say, I'll move my queen from d8 to d8. Doesn't make sense. From the same spot to the same spot, capturing the bishop that was already occupying that spot. And it really went a little haywire from there. So I told it the description is incorrect. It tried to make a correction. The correction was incorrect. I said to it, your correction is incorrect. You are showing the wrong pieces in the wrong places. And it just went haywire from there. It became quite creative with what it tried to do. And I thought I understood exactly what was going on. At one point, it tried to make a move that was really not legal. And I said to it, is that a legal move? Every time when I said that, it realized I made a mistake. I'm going to correct it. And sometimes it did and sometimes it didn't. But fundamentally, here's what it boils down to. And this is what's important to remember with these large language models. So I asked it, I said, okay, this is an interesting experiment. Can you tell me why you are not great at this task? There were quite a number of errors. It identified 5. State tracking, maintaining and updating the state of the chessboard accurately requires precise tracking of every move, context, handling. While I can remember the current state within a conversation, my ability to manage and retain context can sometimes lead to errors. It talks about complex coordination. Chess involves coordinating multiple pieces. And then fundamentally, the reason that it's failing here is because it wasn't trained specifically for this task. And this is really critical to remember. Now, what we see quite often is that people have an undue expectation of these commercial models that we have access to. But when you try and get them to do things that they're not good at, they're going to struggle. Now, if you're interested, very soon we'll be bringing out a course that actually shows you from a user perspective how to become a super user with these generative AI tools. Really understand how they do what they do, what their limitations are, what they can't do very well, conversely, what they are brilliant at, and how you can use those capabilities to enhance what you can do. The link is in the description. If you want more information, just fill in your details there and we'll send it to you as soon as possible. By all means, go and experiment with these things. Give it challenges, give it examples, play games with it, and for yourself, try and figure out what the limits are of what they can do within the topics that you give them to handle. Good luck and have fun.